Good morning everyone. Welcome once again to the biology class. So we'll continue with the other organelles of the topic, the cell unit of life. So you have to go through the textbook with the diagrams I have said all earlier. Yes. So you should just follow the diagrams and the notes will be available in the library. So you can collect the notes from the library and just go through the notes, the written notes. So next organelle, we have seen some of the organelles of the topic, the cell, the unit of life. Next, we will go with the other organelles, that is the remaining organelles that are included in the topic, that is they are present in the cells. That is, the next one are the ribosomes. While explaining the prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell, I have mentioned that there are 70 S ribosomes and 80 S ribosomes. While explaining the prokaryotic cell, that is the bacterial cell, I said here that the cell contains 70 S type of ribosomes. 70 S. Yes, mitochondria and chloroplast contain 80 S ribosomes. What are these ribosomes? Hope if you recollect the structure of the nucleus. So nucleus is containing nuclear membrane, nucleolus and the chromatin fiber with the nucleoplasm. I had said that in the nucleus the substances required for the process of formation of ribosomes are being synthesized, that is the subunits of the ribosomes, that is RNA and proteins are being synthesized in the nucleus. So those ribosomes, those are the ribosomes which you can find both in prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. But in prokaryotic cells they are 70 S types, while in eukaryotic cells are 80 S types. So we'll go with what are ribosomes. What are ribosomes? Submicroscopic ribonucleoprotein particles. Ribosomes are submicroscopic ribonucleoprotein granules or particles. Ribosomes are submicroscopic ribonucleoprotein granules or particles. So it is made up of two components, that is the RNA and the proteins. While explaining the endoplasmic reticulum, I had said that it was K.R. Porter who discovered the endoplasmic reticulum. On the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum, that is on the membrane, he could find small granules on the membrane of the endoplasmic reticulum and he called them as microbodies. Earlier these ribosomes, which was observed by K.R. Porter, in the animal cells. First, it was observed by K.R. Porter. While he was examining the endoplasmic reticulum, he also observed that the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum have some granule-like structures. Granules, there are some organelles, small minute organelles present on the structure of the membrane. So we call them as rough endoplasmic reticulum now. So K.R. Porter observed them in the animal cells when he was discovering or when he was dealing with the endoplasmic reticulum. But later on, Robertson and Brown observed them in the plant cells. They observed on the plant cells. If you look into this chart, yes, if you look into this chart, you can find very minute granule-like structure which are usually present in both the prokaryotes and the eukaryotic cells. But with the discovery, they are first observed by K.R. Potter in the animal cells, while Robertson and Brown observed them in the plant cells. They are defined as submicroscopic ribonucleoprotein granules. Submicroscopic, very minute, which can be seen only under electron ribonucleoprotein granules. So if you observe under the microscope, electron microscope, you will see the thread-like structures, which is made up of two components. In the electron microscope, you will find two components under the electron microscope with RNA and proteins. It appears it is a naked, that means it does not have any membrane. It is a naked submicroscopic, naked, it does not have any membrane, submicroscopic, only observed through electron dignified or magnified electron microscope with ribonucleoprotein particles. Ribonucleoprotein, that is the RNA and proteins, where it is made up of 65% of RNA and 35% of the proteins. 35% of the proteins. These two subunits, that is the two components that are present in the ribosomes, so only we call it as ribonucleoprotein particles. Yes, earlier as it was observed by Potter and Robinson, they were called as microbodies because of minute in structure. Yes, but later on it was George Palade who observed and named them as ribosomes. And the ribosomes name was given by George Palade. So now we also call the ribosomes as Palade particles. It was discovered by the name was coined by George Palade. The name was discovered or was given by George Palade. So we also call them as Palade particles. So if you observe, you will find a network of RNA and protein fibers entangled with each other. But diagrammatically, it is represented in this form. It is represented in this form where you will find a bigger component and a smaller component. As you see in this figure. In this figure, this is a complete ribosomes with a smaller component and a larger component. So how this ribosomes? So here the ribosomes are indicated as 70S and 80S. Now what do you understand by 70S and 80S? So once again we'll go with the definition. What are ribosomes? Ribosomes are submicroscopic ribonucleoprotein particles. Ribonucleoproteins because it contains two main components, the RNA and the proteins, where it has 65% of RNA and 35% of the proteins. They were first discovered in animal cells by K.R. Potter. Later on Robinson and Brown observed in the plant cells. But the term ribosomes was being coined by George Palade, so we also call them as Palade particles. Now these ribosomes are having two subunits. So the figure is available in the textbook. You can just go through the textbook figure. Each of the ribosomes have two units. There is a smaller subunit and there is a bigger subunit. These ribosomes, as I said, they are being synthesized, the subunits of the ribosomes are being synthesized in the nucleus. So there are two subunits. One is the smaller subunit and the other is the larger subunit. When they combine or when they just fuse with the help of magnesium ions, which is one of the mineral nutrient required for the body, combines the smaller subunit with the larger subunit to form a ribosome. So a smaller subunit always combines with the largest subunit in the presence of magnesium ions to form a molecule or granule of a ribosomes. So you can see here in this part, as it was observed here, see here, this is a smaller subunit and this is a larger subunit. Smaller subunit and a larger subunit, where the smaller subunit and the larger subunit. The larger subunit has a base, a head and a cleft, which is not required but still, So when they just combine, a smaller subunit combines with the larger subunit to form a single ribosomes. Externally, if you observe, this is a smaller subunit and a larger subunit. So in prokaryotes, there is 70S type of ribosomes. It is 70S type in prokaryotes. That is in the bacterial cells. It is 70S. Where the smaller subunit of 30S combines with the larger subunit of 50S. In prokaryotes, it is 70S type of ribosomes where a smaller unit of 30S combines with bigger subunit of 50S. While in eukaryotes, it is 80S, where 40S type of S combines with 60S form of ribosomes. S type of ribosomes. A smaller unit of 40S and a bigger unit of 60S. Now here, if we go in detail, in 40S type only, that is the RNAs. In the RNAs, there are around 1900 nucleotides. A smaller 40S type is having around 1900 nucleotides, a combination of AUGG and all those DNA units or DNA nucleic acids. So RNA has the 1900 nucleotides, where a smaller subunit. So in prokaryotes, as you can see here, yes, a smaller subunit of 30S and a bigger unit of 50S will combine to form a 70S ribosomes. While in eukaryotes, the smaller unit of 40S and a bigger unit of 60S combine to form 80S ribosomes. Then here, while mentioning the ribosomes, we designate it as S, that is 70S ribosomes and 80S ribosomes. What is this S? In the prokaryotes, it is 70S. In eukaryotes, it is ACS. What is that 80S? S is nothing but Swedberg's unit. It is a Swedberg unit. It is a unit that is being measured. It's a unit to measure a particle based on the process of centrifugation, or we can say as sedimentation coefficient. Sedimentation coefficient. So here the S stands for the 70S. 80S. S stands for Swedberg's unit. It is a unit to measure the particle based on centrifugation, or we can say as sedimentation coefficient. Hope you know the meaning of sedimentation coefficient and what is centrifugation. So when it is centrifuged, you can see that the particles are being separated by the measurement. So here they did sedimentation. So here S stands for sedimentation coefficient. So during the process of synthesis of ribosomes, already I have mentioned that nucleolus is the ribosome factory. It produces the ribosome subunits. So subunits are in the form of 30S, 40S or 50S or 60S. So here it can be 30S, 40S, 50S or 60S. It forms the subunits. These subunits during the processes when they are to be synthesized are being released out. When they are released out, they come out as the complete structure of the ribosomes. So usually we represent as a diagram the ribosomes with this figure where there is smaller unit and a bigger unit. Or if you just go through this figure, if a smaller unit of 30S combined with bigger unit of 50S, it will lead to the formation of 70S. Says is Swedberg unit, that is derivation of sedimentation coefficient, a particle that will be measured by the process of sedimentation coefficient. So the two subunits, when they combine, they form either the 70S or 80S ribosomes. And in that, ribosomes are present in both prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. But apart from that, you can find two forms of ribosomes, or we can say two types of ribosomes that are being classified based on their presence in the organelles. The one are called as they are present in the cytoplasm. Some of the ribosomes are present in the cytoplasm. We call them as cytoplasmic ribosomes. Those ribosomes, they according to the presence, they are being classified into two forms which are present in the cytoplasm and inside the organelle. And those which are present in the cytoplasm, they are called as cytoplasmic ribosomes, or we call it as cytoribosomes. For example, in the plant cell, with the vacuole, with the nucleus, you will find, you can just look into the figure in the textbook. Yes, you will find the ribosomes in the cytoplasm or in the animal cell. In the animal cells that are suspended in the animal cells. So those which are present in the cytoplasm are called as cytoplasmic ribosomes in the cell, or sometimes they are attached. These are suspended freely in the cytoplasm, or they may be attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, as you have studied in the earlier classes. So some are associated with the organelles, that is nucleus or endoplasmic reticulum. So those which are present in the cytoplasm are called as cytoplasmic or cytoribosomes, which can be freely suspended in the animal cells and the plant cells, or they are associated, they are present in the membrane. They are present in the membrane, on the membrane, either on the nuclear membrane or on the membrane of endoplasmic reticulum. So presence of these ribosomes make the endoplasmic reticulum as rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the absence of ribosomes make it as smooth endoplasmic reticulum, or they may be present. So such type are called as cytoplasmic or cytoribosomes. The second one are organelle ribosomes. Organelle ribosomes. Organelle ribosomes, for example, in mitochondria and chloroplast. In mitochondria and in the chloroplast with the thylakoids, red channels, drawing roughly. Already you have studied the structure. Hope you will understand that these are the animals. Yes. So in the mitochondria also there are ribosomes inside the organelles. They are situated inside the organelles. Like in the mitochondria, within the mitochondria you can find the ribosomes, because these two are a very important component of the cells. Chloroplast, already we know that it is that particle which is undergoing the process of photosynthesis. So it requires its own protein synthesis. It wants its energy to do the work or to carry out the process of photosynthesis. So here in the organelles, inside the organelles of chloroplast, you will find they have their own independent ribosomes. Yes, while in the mitochondria also we know it has power of the cell. It also requires proteins to carry out the process of photosynthesis. These are two independent organelles which can undergo its own. They have their own DNA and they can undergo their self division. They can undergo fission and process and form. So in that, these ribosomes are present within the organelles like mitochondria and the chloroplast. So such ribosomes are called as organelle ribosomes. But those organelles, those ribosomes which are present inside the organelles are usually 70S types. They are of 70S types where it is having the subunits of 30S and 50S. While in the cytoplasm, those ribosomes which are present in the cytoplasm are 80S types. So remember the concept, in prokaryotes, all the prokaryotes have 70S type of ribosomes, while eukaryotes have 80S type of ribosomes. Again in that, the cytoplasm, in those ribosomes which are present in the cytoplasm have 80S ribosomes, and those which are present inside the organelles which are called as organelle ribosomes are 70S type. They are 70S type of ribosomes. In eukaryotes, only in the cytoplasm, it is 80S type of ribosomes. Then, when you go with the process of, as I said that ribosomes are involved in the synthesis of proteins, so we call them as protein factories. We call them as protein factories of the cell. So, during the process of synthesis, you can see that there are chain of ribosomes. You will see that there is a chain of ribosomes. This is one ribosome. This is the another ribosome. There are chain of ribosomes attached to mRNA. You can look into this figure. Ribosomal. Here you see, this is one ribosome, another ribosome and the other ribosomes. So, you can find a chain of ribosomes. Here also you see. Yes, you can see a chain of ribosomes attached to mRNA. That is messenger RNA, which convey the process of protein synthesis in the process of translation. Yes, the process of life. So, this chain of ribosomes, a group of ribosomes, or we say the cluster of ribosomes attached to messenger RNA, that is mRNA, form the polyribosomes, or also called as polysomes. Chain of ribosomes are attached. You can say that a cluster of ribosomes or a group of ribosomes during the process of protein synthesis are attached with each other to the mRNA and form a cluster of ribosomes. So that cluster is known as polyribosomes or the polysomes. So ribosomes are of two types, 70S and 80S. 70S are cytoplasmic. They are present in the prokaryotic cells, while 80S are present in eukaryotes. Except in mitochondria and chloroplast, it is inside. They are present inside the organelles, so we call them as organelle ribosomes, which are of 70S. So next organelle is the cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton. What is cytoskeleton? It is an internal proteinaceous network of fibers or fibrous materials. Fibrous materials. It is an internal proteinaceous network of fibers or fibrous materials. Now, to give a rough idea of what it is cytoskeleton, when you take a building, internally the building is having the pillars. The pillars have many iron rods within it. To hold those iron rods, there are small threading wires inside so that it can hold the components, the bricks, the whatever the cement or the gravels that are being added, and give a particular shape to the building. Similarly, inside the cell, so that cannot be observed. Now in a building you can just see a wall and a paint. There we can identify it, there is a wall and a paint. But internally it is having many more components that hold together and give a work. It form a frame or provide a frame to the building. Similarly, inside the cells, there is a protein network of fibers. Here it is made up of the protein called as tubulin. That tubulin protein is giving a framework. It is made up of network of components which provide particular shape to the cells. So here the cytoskeletons are the internal framework of protein network. Proteins are present which are arranged in the form of network and provide the shape to the cells. So here the figure has not been given in the textbook. For your understanding, I will draw the figure. It is the cytoskeleton, cytoplasmic. So it is having a network of filaments, that is the protein filaments which provide the shape to the cell. So those, it is made up of three main components. One is microtubules, intermediate filaments. It is made up of microtubules, intermediate filaments, and microfilaments. It is made up of three components: microtubules, intermediate filaments, and microfilaments. Just this figure for your understanding, so that you can come to know the structure of the component. The plasma membrane, I will go with the example of mitochondria. Mitochondria that is held in position by side by with rod shaped this figure is not in the NCERT textbook, but if you observe, you will observe in other references book. Why I am drawing the diagram? In order to make you clear how cytoskeleton form an internal framework. So here these are side to the mitochondria. There are rod-like structures and are called as microtubules. Microtubules. Apart from that, you will find small network of filaments. This is the plasma membrane. You will find there is network of filaments. These are made up of tubulin and are called as intermediate filaments. Intermediate filaments on the microtubules and these are the intermediate filaments. Intermediate filaments. So, while you can see just below the membrane of the plasma. This is the plasma membrane. Just below the membrane, again there are thin filaments. This is the upper surface, this is the lower surface. There are thin wire-like filaments and these are called as microfilaments. Are the microfilaments. So in the cell, I have drawn only one organelle. There can be mitochondria or the nucleus or endoplasmic reticulum throughout the cell. So they are held in position. They are held in position with the three components, that is the microtubules, intermediate filaments and the microfilaments. So you can find under the microscope rod-like structures surrounding the organelles, any organelles like mitochondria or the nucleus, and provide a particular position to the organelles. Why? They are interconnected. These are interconnected. The organelles has internal framework of network of proteins and that is called as intermediate filaments, while on the surfaces of the plasma membrane to provide its stability. Yes, it is having long thread-like components called as the microfilaments. Overall, these cytoskeleton provide mechanical shape and structure to the plant cells. So we will go, so already we came to know that cytoskeleton is made up of three components. Now let us go what are the functions. So this figure you just go through it. It is having three components: microtubules, intermediate filaments and the microfilaments. Now what are the functions of the cytoskeleton? What are the functions? What is the importance of the cytoskeleton? We'll go with the functions of the cytoskeleton. Functions of the cytoskeleton. It helps to provide mechanical support to the cells. It is providing mechanical support to the cells and also holds the organelles at particular positions. So internally it is providing a network. So that network is providing a mechanical support to the cells. So it provides a mechanical support and also maintain the shape of the cell, maintaining the shape of the cell and helping cell mortality. It helps in cell movement also, in the movement of the cells during the response to stimulus or during the immune system or during any of the processes. It is helping the cell in the movement of the cells. So the functions of cytoskeletons are: it provides mechanical support, it maintains the shape of the cells and also provide cell, or also it is involved in cell mortality or in the movement of the cells. Then we will go with the next component, that is the inclusion bodies. Inclusion bodies. If you consider eukaryotic cells, eukaryotes have all well-developed organelle system with well-developed double membrane organelles, but prokaryotes do not have such organelles. Now, if you take in plants also, there is certain components, or there are certain parts where the food is being stored or is being preserved. For example, if you take the leaves, the food is being synthesized, is being stored in the form of starch. Now if you take in some plants, the carrot, the food is being synthesized and it is being stored in the form of roots. Yes, or in the food is being stored either in the roots or in the stems or in the leaves. If you take the example of a stem potato, the food is being stored in the form of starch. So that is higher group of organisms. Even in human body, the food is being stored in the body in the form of reserve food materials. But in prokaryotes, they don't have well-developed organelles. They don't have any other organelles for storing of reserve food materials. But when it is undergoing the metabolic activities, the reserve food materials are being stored inside the cells also, which can be used during the later process of metabolic actions of the prokaryotes. Prokaryotes, I said that they don't have well-developed nucleus. Yes, apart from that, they don't have any dignified or double membrane organelles. They also, like other cells, bacteria, though it is microscopic, does not have well-developed organelles. It can synthesize or it can undergo the metabolic activities. It also stores the food inside the cell. So especially in the prokaryotic cells, yes, the reserve food materials are being stored in the form of inclusion bodies. The reserve food materials. What do you understand by reserve food materials? Yes, no need to explain about it in detail. That is, whatever the food is being synthesized is being stored in the form of reserve materials. So in prokaryotes, the reserve food material is being stored in the form of granules. Those are called as inclusion bodies. For example, if you take the example as in our body, it is stored in the form of glycogen, which is later on during the process is been synthesized to form a glucose. So in prokaryotes also, it is stored in the form of glycogen granules or phosphate granules or Cyanophasian granules. The reserve food material is being stored in the form of glycogen granules or phosphate granules or Cyanophasian granules, that is in the cyanobacterias, or we can say the Chlamydomonas. These are the in reserve, they are being stored in the granules as reserve food materials, and those are called as the inclusion bodies. So in today's class we have learnt about the ribosomes, the cytoskeleton and the inclusion bodies. So ribosomes are naked submicroscopic ribonucleoprotein particles which are being identified as 70S and 80S. 70S are present usually in the prokaryotes, while 80S are present in the eukaryotes. So 70S is Svedberg units that is being determined by sedimentation coefficient. So there are two forms of ribosomes, one is cytoplasmic and other is organelle ribosomes. Cytoplasmic, those which are present inside the organelles and in the cytoplasm, while the organelles are in the organelles, inside the organelles, like mitochondria. Then if you say polyribosomes, a chain of ribosomes, a cluster of ribosomes attached to mRNA and form the chain polyribosomes. Then cytoskeleton, the internal protein framework within the cell is cytoskeleton, made up of three components: microtubules, intermediate filaments and microfilaments, and the inclusion bodies, which are nothing but the reserve food materials. In the next class we will go with the other components, that is the centrioles, the structure of the cilia and flagella. Centrioles are present only in the animal cell, while you already had explained you while explaining the structure of the bacteria. There are whip-like, thread-like structures in the bacteria called as filaments, which help them in the process of locomotion. So those filaments, cilia and flagella structure, with the last part with the micro bodies. What are the micro bodies? Then apart from that, we will go with the comparison of prokaryote cells and the eukaryotic cells. So please refer the textbook. When required, practice the diagrams. So next class we will continue with the other portion of the class which can be dealt, that is the next part, that is the centrioles, the structure of cilia and flagella and the microbodies. Thank you for now. So please go through the textbook properly, go through the figures. What are the figures there with the structures and the functions. Thank you. We will see in the next class.